You don't need more hustle, you need more heart. Let me show you how emotional intelligence can be the fruit that feeds your purpose for the rest of your life. Hey, my gifted community members. Welcome to week 2 of our Gifted Dominion series. I hope you're all caught up on week 1. We established a very solid foundation in week 1, talking about dominion being our birthright as children of God. The gift giver gave us dominion as a mandate of He's making us in His image and likeness. So dominion is not something you have to fight for. It's not a crabs in a bucket mentality phenomenon as we have been made to believe. We don't have to pull one culture, one race, one ethnicity down in order for another to be elevated. All of us, all colors, creed, race, and everything that God created under the sun were created equal in His sight. And we all have access, full access to dominion, as long as we understand this and are able to live in it. And that is why we created this series as a God-given assignment for the gifted community to alert the rest of the world in understanding He needs us to wake up and start taking full dominion in every area of expertise, in every area of gifting and abilities that He has given us. But He needs us to do it His way. And I'm not saying God is a dictator. He's not. He's just a very loving Father who knows what is best for us. So He wants us to understand why it's most expedient for us to partner with Him, the gift giver, so that our gifts cannot be exploited by the enemy for his agenda, but our gifts can be used to funnel light and love into the world to bring transformation to the world around us. So let's get started. If you haven't watched the week 1 episode, I want you to get caught up. So make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on so that you will be up to date on every single episode that we post weekly on this series. So let's get started. This week we are diving deep. We're not just going wide, we're diving deep. We want to build such a strong foundation so that when you start unleashing your gifts on the world, they would know that there is something solid about you. There is something wonderful about you, and you can multiply as much as you want because your roots are planted so deep. So if you're looking to be more fruitful in relationship, in business, in leadership, today's episode is for you. Let's get started. So, I have 2 scriptures for you today. That is going to be the foundation that we use to build the wonderful meal that God has prepared for us today. Notice it is called the fruit. And where in the Bible does it talk about fruit? In the New Testament, where we talk about the fruit of the Spirit. You know, gifts require some kind of personality traits that ordinarily we humans have not been programmed from birth to exhibit. And some of those fruits include love, joy, peace, gentleness. But let me not say all this for you. Let me just give you the Bible verse. The Bible verse is Galatians 5:22-23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against all of this, there is no law under God's earth that can speak against this, right? But our innate personalities actually work against these things, and that is why it's important that we partner with the gift giver so he can help us develop these things in our lives and make our gifts way more valuable than they could ever be by us using it on our own. The second Bible verse will be Proverbs 4:23. It says, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. What are the issues of life? How you reflect yourself to the world, how you show up in the world every day. Notice it is called the fruit of the Spirit, not the gifts. Your gifts in a separate category were given to you, but there are certain fruits that are needed to bring out the fruitfulness in you to ensure that your gifts bear good fruits for the world to see. Fruit takes time. There are seasons, right, that a fruit is planted, seed time and harvest time. You plant the seed in the ground and it grows and it flourishes, and then you're able to get the fruits to ripen, and then it nourishes the soul and the people that consume it. The same thing with our gifts. With your gift planted as a seed, you need it to bear fruits, and these fruits are nourished by the Holy Spirit. Emotional intelligence is a modern term, but God's language was always fruitfulness. You know, we took fruitfulness and converted it to emotional intelligence. In psychology, in, in all kinds of mental health professions and careers, we talk about emotional intelligence and we make it seem like it was our brilliant idea as humans. No. It was God's idea from the beginning, because every single emotion that we carry as humans, anger, excitement, joy, all of these emotions, God put them in us to help us regulate ourselves as humans. Those are the things that separate us from animals. Humans are the ones that have an array of emotions. But in order to be most successful in life, you have to master your emotions and not let your emotions master you. The issues of life flowing from within, those are your words. The tone of your voice, the way that you speak to people, your mannerisms, your attitude, how your ego drives you or not drive you, your ability to make decisions. Some of us, very erratic, but we are learning to be more subtle, to be more stealth with it, to kind of slow down and process things. That is emotional intelligence. I can tell you that the person that I am today is not the same person that I always used to be. I'm very, very short. I used to be very short-fused. Things kind of got at me very easily. And I did not understand that I was not emotionally intelligent. I thought that's just the way I am. But after a few failed, I don't want to say a few, but let's just say a few. After a few failed relationships and some decisions in hindsight that I knew could have been made better, some things, some responses or reactions that I could have managed better and salvaged and still gotten some good results out of the situation rather than letting it go all the way south, I realized I needed to do some soul work. I needed to come back to the heart of who I was. I needed to get back to God and ask Him to teach me how to master these emotions. I wasn't a bad person. I was just someone who had all the emotions, expressing them all willy-nilly. And if you're like me saying, oh, this is the way I am, and if you can't take it, you can't handle it. No. Someone said to me a long time ago, if the way you are is not the way you're supposed to be, then it is up to you to change it. I did not understand it. I was young, fresh out of college, and I was like, what do you mean? You met me this way, you have to accept me this way. No. Just because you were born a certain way. There was an agenda in the heart of God, a big idea in the heart of God for all of us before He put us on this earth. And then because we were consumed in sin and we were born into this flesh of sin, we have to do a rebirth and understanding. We have to unlearn to relearn. So I'm going to take you through a relearning process and some of the things that we have to relearn and understand very well as we continue on this journey into fruitfulness. So what's the big idea? Let's break down the 4 areas of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness. You have to know yourself. To know yourself is to grow yourself. You can't lead with what you don't understand, especially yourself. You cannot lead yourself. You cannot grow yourself. You cannot make changes. You cannot do the things that are necessary to be better if you don't know. If I'm looking in the mirror and I don't see some of the areas of my face, imagine if all of the makeup that I put on my face today, I did it in the dark. There was no mirror, there was nothing. Do you think everything would be in the place that it needed to be? No. I need to be fully aware, knowing what areas to groom, how to symmetrically align everything that I put on my face, how to arrange my hair, how to present myself well. So that is why the saying goes, to know yourself is to grow yourself. And that is the very first step in becoming emotionally intelligent, becoming extremely self-aware. The Holy Spirit acts as a thermostat. to help us regulate, to tell us what's happening. Is it getting too hot in here? Is it getting too cold in here? Are you being complacent? Are you being overly, the Holy Spirit is there. That is why the fruit of the Spirit allows us to self-regulate, to let us know when we are not operating out of love, to let us know when we're being too short-fused, we're not patient enough, to let us know when ego is in the way, when humility should be in the way. Letting us know that kindness is the way to go. When we're being unkind, trust me, people who are unkind, there is something on the inside of them. Hopefully they do have it. And if they don't, it's because they are lacking the Holy Spirit, who is the one that really helps to convict us. He doesn't make us feel guilty, condemning us. He convicts us to let you know, you could have done that better. Oh no, you didn't need to say that. Okay, you really need to say less next time. So it allows us to understand how to lead ourselves. So what are you leading with? Are you leading with kindness? Are you leading with love? Are you going into a situation being patient with other people? What emotions rule your life? That is how you are able to check at every point in time, how am I feeling right now? How does this conversation make me feel? Why did what that person said to me aggravate me so much? Those are some reflective questions that you can always lead with and help yourself to process how your emotions are being impacted with every single interaction. And I tell you this is not a one-day journey. It's not a 6 months course that you take, you graduate, you get a certificate from. It's a lifelong process. Until we leave this earth, we have to constantly be in a state of self-awareness. And that self-awareness allows us to grow and improve in all the areas of our life, that eventually we'll see that certain things don't trigger us as much as they used to. Number 2, self-management. What is self-management? It is maturity. We call it maturity. Is growing and developing, being able to manage yourself well, being able to suppress certain emotions, even though ordinarily they might seem like legit for you. In certain cases, people do things like you're driving, someone cuts you off. Of course, it's normal human instinct to want to respond and react in that situation. But maturity says, you know what? Let it go. That's not what I'm supposed to be focusing on right now. I need to focus on getting where I need to get to safely. Certain things happen and it will elicit a response from you in your relationships, maybe between a husband and a wife. And then that is the state of maturity where one person decides to pick their battles and be like, okay, I concede to you. You might not be all the way right, but you know what? I'm sorry. I don't want us to have this because it means more to me to have this loving, kind relationship than for me to prove myself as the right person in this moment, right? You want to be happy as opposed to being right all the time. That right there is maturity. How does your faith help you build this? By allowing the Holy Spirit, your partnership with the gift giver, to guide you at all times. That is your internal compass working for you, not against you. Sometimes our emotions will work against us. Trust me, I have stories for days talking about relationships, business, personal, that have gone up in flames when all I needed to do was take a breath. Calm down. Yes, even though the other party were wrong, but I could have handled the situation better. And it ended up messing up things that could have easily been worked out. I know that you can resonate with some of these examples that I'm sharing. Number 3, social awareness. We are social beings. It's not about being an introvert or an extrovert. Even an introvert can find a way to mess up a relationship because they are socially unaware. And an extrovert can overdo and overplay their hand because they're like, and an extrovert can overdo and overplay their hand because they're like, they don't know how to rein it in. Do you know those friends who like, come on now, read the room? You can actually read the room. It's called decorum. A lot of us don't know how to be socially aware to conduct ourselves properly. This is a skill that every everybody needs to learn, regardless of your personality type, regardless of where you fall on the scale of introversion or extroversion. You have to learn how to be socially aware, how to read the room, read the situation, how to understand what to say, how to say, when to say it, and all of these things is called decorum. It's very important. It's important for you to know how to tie your kindness. Your words, sometimes they can be laced with salt or they can be laced with honey. It's not always what we say. It's how we say it. And for me, even as a speaker and as an international conference speaker, I am learning how to lace my words with honey, because sometimes I'm just going to say, no. I don't always have to say it how it is. I can really find a way to communicate by not pulling down the other person's confidence. Last but not the least, interpersonal relationship management. Ooh, this is a serious one. This is where we get to learn how to resolve conflicts, how to deal with people, how to connect with people, how to not let them feel like they are a tool in our toolbox, how to let people feel seen, heard, and valued by us, how to let people know that we see them, we hear them, and we understand them. It's important for us to be able to have all of these tools in our emotional intelligence toolbox: self-awareness, social awareness, and of course, self-management and interpersonal relationship management. Those are the things that we get to do that allows us to build ourselves as emotionally intelligent people. Emotional intelligence cost me a great deal, or lack thereof. Let me not say emotional, because it was the lack of it. It cost me an opportunity that could have made me a lot of money if I had just been more patient. And the reality, looking back at that story, I was in a group of people who had started a business. And over time, when the journey started, it became clear that, some of the major folks in the group were not really in favor of me. For some reason, they just had a bone to pick with me as a person. But I could have understood in the time that whether or not they were they liked me as a person, it was more important for us to be able to achieve the goal, which was to become profitable in that business. But I allowed my emotions to rule my response. And of course, there was a meeting being had, and I was baited. And they knew that because of the way I am, they understood my personality, and this person baited me so well, and I fell into that trap. Needless to say, I left the business, and of course, at the time, it didn't seem like a big deal. But looking back, it wasn't about the money that was lost or the possible profit that could have been gained from the business over the years. It was the fact that I really let myself down in that moment. I could have been quiet. I could have let certain things slide because it wasn't that big of a deal. It's okay for you to be entitled to your opinion. As they say, you don't have to like me, but at least you have to respect me. I did not give them a chance to respect me because I let my emotions fly off the handle. So even though they didn't like me, they were also able to disrespect me because I let my emotions fly off the handle. How many times have you found yourself in that situation? Even as an adult, as a grown person, as a parent, raising kids, trying to tell them what to do, how to do it. But then you find yourself in a situation and you're just like a little kid. Just let it go. You just let it all up. You have diarrhea of the mouth. And then you look back and think, oh, I could have held myself back. But we did not. I did not. And it cost me a lot. Let me tell you this. Fruitfulness does not start in your bank account. It's not about how much money you have. It's not about how many assets you're able to acquire. That is not really the demonstration of fruitfulness. Fruitfulness starts in our behavior, who you are. Zig Ziglar said something, you don't get out of life what you want. You get out of life who you are. Life will give you in abundance a reciprocity of who you are becoming. Kindness will roll over to you in abundance when you become a kind person. Love will roll over to you in abundance when love is how you you operate in love. And abundance will roll back to you in abundance, like people giving to you when you learn to operate in abundance yourself. So whatever you're wanting out of life to be fruitful in, you have to already become that. And that is where allowing the Holy Spirit, the gift giver, to guide us in developing strong emotional intelligence, knowing when to act, how to act, what to act on or not act on. And all of these things is so important. So let's summarize today's episode, guys. Becoming fruitful is the gift giver's agenda. Part of it for us to have dominion on earth. And if children of God in the gifted community do not begin to understand the importance of building these character traits, allowing the Holy Spirit to lead us in love, joy, peace, gentleness, patience, faithfulness, self-control. Come on, listen. We're not going to go far in life. No matter how gifted you are or how gifted you appear to be, how valuable those gifts might be, nobody is going to want to work with you knowing that you don't carry these traits of heightened emotional intelligence. So let's get started today on our journey and taking some of these notes that we've taken today and implementing them. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Nobody cares how gifted you are, how talented you are, until they know that you can actually be a kind, loving human being. When you become a kind person, love will roll over to you in abundance when love is how you operate in love. And abundance will roll back to you in abundance, like people giving to you when you learn to operate in abundance yourself. So whatever you're wanting out of life to be fruitful in, you have to already become that. And that is where allowing the Holy Spirit, the gift giver, to guide us in developing strong emotional intelligence, knowing when to act, how to act, what to act on or not act on. And all of these things is so important. So let's summarize today's episode, guys. Becoming fruitful is the gift giver's agenda. Part of it for us to have dominion on earth. And if children of God in the gifted community do not begin to understand the importance of building these character traits, allowing the Holy Spirit to lead us in love, joy, peace, gentleness, patience, faithfulness, self-control. Come on, listen. We're not going to go far in life. No matter how gifted you are or how gifted you appear to be, how valuable those gifts might be, nobody is going to want to work with you knowing that you don't carry these traits of heightened emotional intelligence. So let's get started today on our journey and taking some of these notes that we've taken today and implementing them. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Nobody cares how gifted you are, how talented you are, until they know that you can actually be a kind, loving human being. People will work with someone who is kind, empathetic, who is self-aware, who knows how to conduct and carry themselves faster than they will work with a super talented person who has zero emotional intelligence. So keep that note in your mind as you're going into this week, guys. So here's a call to action before I leave you today. Are you ready to get started in developing these core skills? My organization helps individuals like yourself to develop these skills, to learn how to develop leadership roles, to help to build a culture within and around yourself. Whether you are the leader in an organization, you are a team lead, or you're an entrepreneur who is just navigating your way through the ecosystem of the marketplace, we help you learn how to enforce emotional intelligence tools into your business module, into your organizational culture, into your team, to ensure that you get the best out of everything that you're putting in. And when we talk about the best, we're talking about your systems, your processes, your profitability, your productivity all around will be amplified when you and the people around you are experts in emotional intelligence. And of course, we're not going to be doing it alone. We're going to be doing it in partnership with the gift giver. Guys, listen, I am so excited about this series, and I cannot wait to see you guys back here next week with episode 3 in our 7-week series of the Dominion mandate for the gifted community. Thank you so much. Until next time, my name is Dr. OJ, the Gifted Meg. As always, I love you. Bye, guys.